What if I told you that Google Chrome may be sold to OpenAI? It gets worse for Google. They may be forced to open up the secret search data to competitors like Bing and ChatGPT. In a landmark antitrust ruling, could the world's most powerful tech company actually be broken up? Did you know that back in 2023, Google actually lost a major antitrust case? Judge Amit Mehta, presiding over the trial in Washington, ruled that Google had violated antitrust laws by abusing its dominant position in the search engine market. Why? Because for years, Google had paid massive, over $20 billion annually to make sure it remained the default search engine on Apple and other devices. That default status wasn't earned, it was bought. Now the government is stepping in, and they're not playing around. The proposed remedies, they want to force Google to sell Chrome, the world's most used browser. They want to make Google license its search index. That means rivals like Bing, DuckDuckGo, and even OpenAI ChatGPT could finally peek inside the engine powering the web. They're also aiming to ban all exclusive search deals. This means Apple, Samsung, and others would be free to offer search alternatives without billions in string attached. And don't expect help from Trump-era policymakers. Google has been a regular punching bag for the MAGA crowd. Many see the company as too woke, and the former president has no great love for big tech companies, especially Google. So politically, they are on their own. And now enter the second lawsuit, the one that hits Google's actual money machine, the ad business. What if I told you Google didn't just control search, it controlled how money moves across the entire internet? Google wasn't just helping people buy or place ads, they controlled every part of the system. Imagine a company that runs a racetrack, owns the horses, takes your ticket money, and decides who wins. That's what Google was doing in the world of online ads. And here's how it works. Website and apps, let's call them publishers, use tools to manage the space where ad shows up. Advertisers use different tools to buy these spots, and in the middle, there's this digital marketplace where the buying and the selling happens in the real time. And that's called the ad exchange. And here's the twist. Google owned all of it. And why did this become a problem? The judge, Leonie Bernkema, ruled that this setup wasn't just unfair, it was illegal. Google was willfully using its power to shut down any other players who tried to compete. In some part of the ad world, Google had almost 90% control. That's not competition, that's dominance. And it hurt everyone else. Publishers made less money, advertisers had fewer options, and for the rest of us, it meant the internet started feeling smaller, fewer voices, less variety, and low quality content. And here's a question for you. If one company controls how ads are sold, who gets paid, and what content even survives online, can we still call this a free and open internet? Now, just like in the search case, the government is stepping in. They're pushing for something big, a structural breakup. Google might be forced to spin off part of its ad tech business, including the very platform that powers its advertising empire. Now think about what this would mean for Google. Google's search dominance is in fire. Its browser may no longer be theirs to keep, and now even the core business, the money machine, is up for grabs. So after losing not one, but two major lawsuits, one for monopolizing search and other for controlling online ads, what do you think Google was doing? You would think that they would be careful, right? Maybe take a step back, reassess, change course? No. They went back to the same playbook, just with a new name. While all this legal drama was unfolding, Google started quietly pushing for a new product, their AI chatbot Gemini. Now think of it like a Google's version of ChatGPT. But instead of letting people choose it, they were trying to get it pre-installed on Samsung phones and other Android devices as the default AI assistant. Does it sound familiar to you? It's the exact same move they made with search, paying billions to stay the default. This time, they just swapped Google search with Gemini. And I don't know about you, but I've already stopped using Google as my default search engine. I actually use ChatGPT for everyday questions, but being an academic, I started relying on Perplexity. It actually cites its sources, cross-check facts, and frankly, gives me a much better result. Google right now to me just feels a little clunky. And here's where it gets even more telling. In 2023, OpenAI actually approached Google. They asked if there's a way to collaborate, maybe get access to Google's search index so they can build something better together. And what did Google say? No. they shut down the request, flat refusal. So on one hand, Google wants to stay the gatekeeper. On the other, it doesn't want to share the keys. Even as platforms like OpenAI and Perplexity and others are gaining users and are building better and smarter tools. So what exactly does Google want from us? To keep using their defaults? To never question how we get our information? To keep the gates closed and the competition out? If this kind of conversation speaks to you, the intersection of technology, culture, politics, and how it shapes our lives, consider subscribing to my channel. I approach these topics from an academic lens, but always with a real-world urgency and clarity. I also share shorter clips from each episode on my Instagram Reels. So if you come across one, give it a like, drop a comment, or better yet, share it. Let's build a community that pays attention, asks better questions, and don't just scroll past the important stuff. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.